So today's project is getting this air unit, which is big and works very well, installed in this corner right there. So what I've done so far you can see I measured where the output is, which basically is the output of here. I want it to come up and curve nicely and go out the wall, and then I'm going to curve down. So that's the output hole there. There's another hole I've made, another drawing I've made, which is also for the exhaust pipe. Not the exhaust, but the drainage pipe. Drainage pipe is going to come straight out and go down. Now, the way these things work is there is an intake and an outtake for the hot side. The cold side all happens in the front. But for the hot side, it sucks air in, cools the coil, captures the hot air from the coil, then blows out hot air, which you don't want when you're cooling. So, I'm in a shed. So what I'm going to do to this the hot air intake, is I'm going to actually run a pipe that goes all the way up. So I'm going to capture the air from the top of my shed. So from the top of the workroom, I'm going to have a pipe that runs all the way down and puts all the hot air from the room and suck the hot air when it gets to the ceiling out of the room to run the air the same time it cools the air in the room. So we'll see how good that works. But right now I have my drill, big bit. It's actually a wood bit, but it has the point, but I'm driving it with my original USA made thing will never die drill. So that should drill a hole successfully without a problem in the wall to get my drainage out. That's my first hole. First hole is for the drainage. I just have to find, oh, there it is right there. It's underneath the other hole. Now I know there's no electrical wires. I know there's nothing in this shed because I actually put the foam and put the covering on. All my electrical in this wall is going to be external. This wall does have electrical to the couple outlets. That's why I will be very careful if I drill on that side. So the first hole drilled into a beam. I guess there's a diagonal beam in all the corners that I ignored because I have both sides. So I hit a beam. I don't want to hit a beam when I'm drilling a little hole because I don't want to ruin the beam. Second hole, I'm going right out. So I'm going to take off my airline and make sure it goes through my hole. It's a rough hole, but I do have the hole. Let's round it off some. There, my airline does go through the hole, so I'll just leave the airline here. I'll hook it up when I move the unit back to where it belongs. So the second thing. I gotta think of the diagonal. Let's try the lower half of this hole. So I've drilled the hole. So, as I thought, the drill did a wonderful job. Now I'm going to take my small saw and finish off the hole inside. There we go. My hole going out. Does it have to be completely round? No. As long as the pipe goes through. I'm going to foam the whole thing. So let's go external. You can cut it a couple different ways. You can use snips and cut through the aluminum, or you can use the saw. Let's try the saw first. Okay. Nothing in the shed, so I can just drop that down. Now let's see if my pipe comes through. I'll leave you external. So I did say I was going to hook up that other pipe, but I don't need to as of yet, because it's right there. I can just run it straight up. So first off, I hook up my output, then I hook up my drain, get my out as good as I can, get it in the corner, open it up, put my cord through, and plug it in. There is a remote for this. I don't know where it is, but my air is now in. So the next step to this exciting process is I made a big hole in the wall. I put my pipe through a big hole in the wall. I put my drainage through a smaller but big hole in the wall. So now I have to fill up the hole in the wall. So I got foam for that. High performance thermal and sound spray foam installation. Why did I get thermal and sound? I got thermal and sound not because I really care about the noise that comes through my hole in the wall. I got thermal and sound because it's a finer grain of foam. That's why I got thermal sound. For that purpose only. Now hopefully these are compatible. Appears they are. So I'm not going to use an end. So I got to fill the hole. But I might as well put an end on it, because when I come back I'm going to go around with the extra foam I'm sure I'll have. I'm going to go on my fan up here. So now I'm going to foam. Okay, let's see if it works now. Turn the power on. I have coiled air right away. Let's check outside to make sure I have warm air. And I have warm air right away. All I have to do now is build my little intake from the sky to suck the cold, the hot air out. Other than that, we're good. Right now it says it's 87 degrees in here. We'll set it for 77. Granted, I do not have electrical running yet to the shed. I'm using a number 14 cord running an air conditioner. And it's on a 15 amp rate because I don't want to take any chances. So if I add anything, the lights might be too much, but I don't think so. If I add anything at all to the system, it will stop running. So that's where we're at. The air conditioner is now in the workroom. Okay, so this is an update to the end of the video that I haven't actually done yet, because parts did not come in when they were supposed to. I had to move on to more builds. So the other things done here, that's why it's going to look different now. But I am here to tell you the air is working. It is blowing out very cold air. Everything has been installed, which the last video showed, except now we have our black pipe. So the black pipe comes out, goes into a wire tie, goes into a clamp, which I put a screw into the wall to hold the clamp, goes up to the next clamp, again, screw in the wall to hold the clamp, and I have a bracket up here that I made out of a piece of metal I had. Use the wire tie again, and now my intake air that gets sucked out is actually sucking the hot air from the ceiling. So that plan also came to place. Turn off that light. So yes, that's my suction point that now comes all the way down and sucks the hot air out of the room instead of sucking the cold air from behind the unit or having a second hole going through the wall. That allows me to have air exchange in the room. The air that's cold stays in the bottom, and all is well. That's it.